Every odd-numbered year, the Texas Legislature convenes for 140 days, or 5 months. The 86th Legislature began on January 8th of this year, and it ends at midnight, May 27th, Memorial Day, 2019. The Governor and Lieutenant Governor swore their oaths of office on January 15th. I hope to inspire you to watch what your state legislators will do to you in the next 5 months, because President Andrew Jackson said it best. Eternal vigilance by the people is the price of liberty, and that you must pay the price if you wish to secure the blessing. It behooves you, therefore, to be watchful in your states as well as in the federal government. So I'm going to cover lots of material on the TLO website, also known as the Texas Legislature online website, but due to time constraints, I'm limited on some details. So for details that I don't cover here, I have shared the links to 5 how-to videos that I prepared 6 years ago, which are on YouTube. Those video links can be found below this YouTube video, so I ask you to please watch them to fill in any gaps in this presentation. Ignorance is not stupidity. There is no shame in ignorance, because nobody knows everything. However, to be proud of your ignorance, refusing to learn something new, is just plain stupid. This is one of my favorite quotes from my good friend Michael Badnark's latest book, Philosophical Lighthouse, which is available on Amazon. And in essence, knowledge that reduces your ignorance and then refusing to use that knowledge is just plain stupid. And so it is my hope that whatever knowledge that you gain by this video today, I hope that you will put some of it to use. I hope to jumpstart your knowledge gained into action by showing you how to set up your TLO account, find bills that address your issues, read and understand the bills that address your issues, track these bills, and then effectively influence the bills in the 86th legislative session. In the age of the internet, ignorance is a choice, which is a stupid choice. This is the web address that you must bookmark on all of your web-capable devices. The home page has embedded links for everything related to state politics, that's state law and the Texas Constitution. If you don't remember anything from this video, please remember this. The several states, and that is with a capital S, created the federal government. Each state, again with a capital S, created its own separate counties and cities with complete sovereign powers under that state. So if the state created the feds and the counties and the cities, where does the people's voice reign strongest? Is it with the feds or with the states? In our republic, it is the states that retained more power. So let's talk about our voice in Austin for the next 5 months. This is the TLO homepage. I'll show you what some of these embedded links can do for you. This is page 1 of your handout, and I hope that you take advantage of the video coverage of the 86th Legislature through the embedded links shown here. And if you read the 2 documents, how a bill becomes a law and how to follow a bill, you will understand more than the freshman legislators, and sadly I have to say some of the seasoned ones too. I have arrows with numbers 1 through 3, and you'll find the corresponding information on page 2 of your handout with the numbers 1 through 3, which is also found below this YouTube video. This is page 2 with the corresponding numbers 1 through 3, and there's so much more information that you can access on this TLO website, but I'm going to teach to the lowest common denominator and presume that you've never visited the website. So for those more educated on the site, please bear with me, because I think I have some tips to share that you'll find useful also. If you ever have trouble finding what you want, there's a Help tab on the upper right maroon taskbar. Use it. That's how I taught myself. Another good place to find what you're looking for is the How Do I page. It can be found in the middle column of the home page, and clicking on More takes you to a list of 28 frequently asked questions. I've included some of these 28 questions on page 2 of the handout that I think will help some people get started. The most important first step to take when you get in front of your computer to try to activate this is to set up your TLO account. You cannot be effective if you aren't focused on your subject of interest. Setting up your TLO account with alerts on your bill of interest, your subject of interest, or committees that handle your bill or subject of interest will minimize your research time and allow TLO to work for you. You can access My TLO from the home page, middle column, bottom of the page as shown here, and also you can access My TLO from the upper left side of the toolbar on the home page. Once you click on My TLO, it's easy to set up your TLO account. Just enter your email address and a password of your choosing. You would probably need to click on New User first, right below where the red arrows are. For those not comfortable with these brief instructions, I have a 3-minute YouTube video to walk you through this, and this link is also listed below this YouTube video. The 86th Legislature will consider some 6,000 bills this year. Setting up your list of bills by category with email alerts automatically generated into your email inbox whenever an action occurs on the bills in your list or actions in other areas that you've indicated will minimize your time spent trying to keep up with the fast pace under the pink dome. And once you set up an alert, you will receive an email when there is movement or activity that pertains to your bill, committee, or other action that you have specified. And I've gone into detail on how to do that in a 25-minute YouTube video that I hope you'll watch and set up your own bill lists and alerts. This is an email alert to me from TLO on 2 subjects that I signed up for in my TLO alerts. That's criminal procedure and constitutional amendments. I can click on each bill number listed in this email and read the bill to see if it's a bill that I want to add to my future bill watch list. Not all of them are. Again, considering that the legislature files an average of 6,000 bills every session, I use TLO to single out the ones that I have an interest in so that I don't waste my time on the ones I don't have time for. And if you plan to contact any of the 181 legislators outside of your 2 elected officials, this YouTube video will show you how to find their info, plus the committees that they serve on, the bills in their committees, the bills that your legislator authored, co-authored, or sponsored. Excuse me. Let's say there's a bill in the House that you are watching and you want to help that bill pass. Other than contacting your House representative and asking them to vote for it, what can you do? Well, as soon as you identify a bill that you support, talk directly to your legislator and then tell them that you want them to sign on as a co-author. A bill with many authors is a powerful signal to all the other legislators. That's before they vote on it. Here's the TLO homepage, and on the left column, you can access the members of both the House and the Senate by clicking on Members. My video will show you how to find contact info for the House reps that sit on the committees that are handling that bill. However, if you wish to contact a legislator, I suggest that you directly email that legislator and don't use the email form from the TLO website. I've given you the format for those emails in your handout. And by clicking on Members under House from this home page will take you to all 150 members of the Texas House. But note to be sure that the 86th Legislature is shown in the menu above because that's the legislative session that we're in right now. Clicking on a name will take you to that legislator's official page with his capital address, his district address, links to bills that they authored and sponsored, the information on their House districts such as school districts, cities, and precincts in their district, and a district map. And again, I review much of this in the YouTube video listed on page 2 of your handout. Here's what the Senator's webpage looks like. It's a different format from the House, but all the same info is accessible. So go to your computer and explore your legislator's TLO webpage. Now on to something that the more seasoned watchdogs may find to be effective, marking up bills using the Microsoft Word comment feature. This helps me understand and summarize a bill to create strong, effective, brief talking points with my legislator and their staff, such as what's in the bill, the good and the bad. I can address my questions and concerns directed to the legislator, either by phone or in person. I could also send it as an attachment in an email to him directly, or for them in their committees, for them to ask to the bill author that lays out their bill in their committee, or for them on the chamber floor during the second reading of the bill. This is for the entire chamber's consideration prior to a vote on the floor of the House or the Senate. Well, I can only pray that they will bring up these points for discussion. But I use this feature on every bill that I want to closely follow. And since I follow several bills each session, it's difficult for me to remember specifically what they all propose to do. Plus, when I'm reading them for the first time, it helps me to judge what the bill does and whether I want to support it or oppose it in the current text. So when you send your legislator a bill with your comments in the margin, like I'll show you in a moment, it's in a format that they use. If your bill of interest happens to be heard in a committee that they will serve on, you should press them to use your marked up bill and question the author of the bill with your concerns when that bill receives a hearing in their committee. The committee hearings are designed to shed light on the intended and the unintended consequences in a bill. Committees are where many bills are amended before going before the whole Senate or House body for a vote. So your concerns and questions will help shed light when no one else takes the time to do this. If you will do this, you will become a vital assistant to your House rep or senator. Considering that there are 6,000 bills submitted each session, that's an average of 140 bills in each House committee and 285 bills in each Senate committee. There's no way each legislator reads and understands all the intended and unintended consequences in these bills. They rely on their staff, other legislators, and the deep-pocketed lobbyist for information and translation of the bills. Well, guess what? Other legislators and deep-pocketed lobbyists don't elect them. You do. So let's start doing our job and watch what they do in their committees. If they are representing you, tell them how to do that. Remember the opening slide, President Jackson's words? Eternal vigilance by the people is the price of liberty, and that you must pay the price if you wish to secure the blessing. Believe me, your political opposition is very good at doing this. Well, I've chosen one bill to demonstrate how I mark up a bill using the Microsoft Word comments feature. Senate Bill 63. This bill will most assuredly pass in the Senate with all 31 of 31 senators having signed on as authors. There isn't a companion bill yet in the House, but I'm sure Senator Jane Nelson, the primary author of the bill, has a House rep or dozens of House reps already in the wings to author a companion House bill, or at a minimum, several House sponsors lined up to take her bill and pass it in the House once it clears the Senate chamber. Well, why did I choose Senate Bill 63 as my example? Because I try to watch what bills my two elected legislators have authored. And as of this morning, my freshman House Representative, Candy Noble, had not filed any bills. Senator Angela Paxton has only participated as an author on one bill, that of SB 63. So how did I find this out? Well, from the TLO homepage, I clicked on Members under Texas Senate. I then clicked on Paxton. Then I clicked on Bills Authored, which took me to this page, and this was the only bill listed. She is an additional primary author. To read the bill, I could click on the blue text, SB 63, and it would take me to the bill lookup page. But for this demonstration, I want to show you another way to get to the bill lookup page. So the bill number is SB 63, right? So back on the home page, the middle column at the top under Search Legislation, make sure the legislative session says 86R 2019, because that's when this bill was filed. If it doesn't, use the drop-down menu and select the correct session. Then bubble in the radio button marked bill number, and then type in SB 63 in the box and hit go or enter. This is the default view of your bill lookup page. Why do I call it the lookup page? Well, if you notice the URL address at the top of the screen, bill lookup. Then notice the word next to bill lookup in the URL at the top says history. Well, on the bill lookup page, the history tab is the default view. Notice the blue tab on the upper left section? I highlighted it in a red box. Well, this is the history view on the bill lookup page. There's a total of 9 pages on the lookup page. Moving from the history tab to the right, there's tabs for text, actions, companion bills, authors, sponsors, captions, and bill stages. From this history tab, you can get a general idea about most aspects and status of a bill. There's the bill number at the top, the last action taken on the bill. This one has been filed. The next action listed here will be a committee assignment. The caption, which tells you very little about the bill, hence the reason that we must read the bill. The author or authors in this case, and note that Angela Paxton's name is in the list of 25 authors. She's my senator. Subjects that the bill addresses, and finally the actions taken on the bill. The actions will be populated with more data as the session proceeds. Things that are listed under actions include filing of the bill, and as this bill proceeds through the legislative process, additional actions may be added. I can say more about this history tab on the bill lookup page, but let's move on to how to read the bill. And to read the bill, you'll want to click on the text tab at the top next to the history tab. Do you see that tab in the red circle? Clicking on that tab takes you to the text page on the bill lookup page. You have 3 different formats to view or download the bill. There's PDF, HTML, and Microsoft Word. I use Microsoft Word so that I can save the file in a format that I can edit and use my Microsoft Word comments feature to highlight certain aspects of the bill. When you click on the Microsoft Word icon, this window pops up with 3 options. I click on Open because I want to open the file, read a bit of it to be sure it's a bill that I want to save and mark up with my summary and comments using Microsoft Word. Once I click on Open, this window opens with the bill in a Microsoft Word format. If after I read the bill and decide I want to save it, I click on the File tab, I click on Save As, and save the document to a file that I can find later with the name of the file, and the format that I use is bill number followed by the author and then my brief description of what the bill proposes to do. But be sure to save as and not save on your computer, because you may save the file somewhere that's difficult to find later if you don't. If you save as, then you can choose the folder to save it to and give it a name to the file that you want so that you can find it again. Once you've saved the file, go and find it and open it up. And then to use the comments feature, click on the Review tab on the top toolbar seen in the red circle here. Here's the bill with the Review tab open. Once you have the Review tab open, then you can highlight text in the document. Then click on New Comment on the upper toolbar, and doing so will open a text box in the right margin of the document, like so, and you can type your commentary, or in my case, summarize in a few words what that portion of the bill does. What I did here is highlight the words adding Chapter 113 and made a comment. I said, adding a new chapter to the Health and Safety Code to create the Texas Mental Health Consortium involving the branches of Baylor, A&M, Texas Tech, University of North Texas, University of Texas, and the University of Texas Southwestern Medical Center. That list is found on page 2 of the bill, but I want to clarify this list on page 1 here. And once I've read through a bill and highlighted all the important particulars, I like to go back to the first page of the bill, highlight the bill number, and in as few words as possible, describe what the bill does. And here's my comments. SB 63 creates a new bureaucratic department, the Texas Mental Health Care Consortium. It expands drugging of children. It opens a new market for the psychophysiology industrial complex. It supports universities that receive millions of dollars from Big Pharma to decide and recommend mental health policy, which is a conflict of interest. Essentially, it allows the well-funded foxes to guard the hen house, which is a vendor's dream come true and a parent's rights nightmare. Here on page 2 again, I listed the 6 universities, but I also added that there are 13 campuses specifically named in the bill, where there was more room in the margin here. That's Waco, Bryan, Lubbock, El Paso, Fort Worth, Denton, Galveston, Houston, San Antonio, Edinburgh, Harlingen, Austin, Tyler, and Dallas. I like to highlight in yellow my questions and concerns that I want to take up with my legislators, and hopefully they will ask the same questions to the bill author before they vote. Here I have the question, is this without legislative oversight? Meaning, this appointed body appears to be given full authority to further appoint additional entities to this new bureaucratic body. Well, where's the checks and balances, is my question. This is like the EPA, who is judge, jury, and executioner. But wait, it gets better. Here I have listed who makes up this new bureaucracy that shall be named the Texas Mental Health Consortium. Each of the chairs of the Department of Psychiatry from all 13 campuses that I listed above. 2 representatives of the commission that have expertise in delivery and facilities appointed by the executive commissioner. That's the executive commissioner of the Texas Health and Human Services Commission, appointed by the governor, and that's an agency with 60,000 employees and an $80 billion biennium budget. There's a representative from each nonprofit listed in section 113.0052 and part of the consortium appointed by the governor. Any other representative appointed by the governor at the request of the executive committee, and the chair of the executive committee shall be elected among the appointed members. The executive committee may accept gifts, grants, or donations from any public or private source to fund and expand mental health diagnosis and service, or drugs. 1 executive committee member shall work in liaison with the State Health Coordinating Council. Well, this bill doesn't define the State Health Coordinating Council, so I had to look it up in the statute. And under subchapter B, Statewide Health Coordinating Council, section 104.011, it says that there are 17 members, but I'm not going to go into that on this bill in the comments section right now. This bill also establishes child psychiatry access centers at all 13 university campuses listed in section 113.0052. It expands the telemedicine program to reach all remote areas of the state. Using the words in the bill, by, quote, expanding the behavioral health workforce project, there will be an increase in collaboration between university psychiatry colleges and community mental health providers to provide an increase in possible patients for training of psychiatric residency students. In summary, SB 63 creates a new bureaucratic department to be called the Texas Mental Health Care Consortium. It expands drugging of children through grants or other funding, opens a new market for the psychophysiology industrial complex. It supports universities that receive millions of dollars from Big Pharma to decide and recommend mental health policy, which is a conflict of interest. Generally, it allows well-funded foxes to guard the hen house, which is a vendor's dream come true and a parent's rights nightmare. If you missed the translation of my position on this bill, I don't like it. Under the guise of the Texas Health and Safety Code, just think Affordable Health Care Act, you, the taxpayer, will be supporting increasing the supply of lab rats, also known as children, to the colleges of psychiatry in order to facilitate, and I quote, expand the state's behavioral health workforce to identify and address mental health care throughout Texas via state universities and telemedicine in collaboration with, quote, community mental health providers. Let me say it this way. The only difference between the Nazi concentration camp Auschwitz and this bill is the marketing of it. I'm sure this bill was conceived by the Republicans to calm the circling gun grabbers. Almost every mass shooter has a history of psychotic drug use, whether it be antidepressants, ADHD drugs, antipsychotics, and anti-anxiety drugs. But I ask you, if drugs are causing adverse mental health, what are the chances that more drugs will reverse adverse mental health? We should be looking at the environmental changes in the last 40 years and make a correlation. The public schools requiring the ADHD child to take medication or be isolated, vaccinating our children with 50 doses of 14 vaccines before the age of 6, the toxic fluoride that's added to our water supply and the overchlorination of our water, consuming genetically modified produce and meats, or spraying of chemicals in the atmosphere to control the weather. But someone like me is painted as an idiot to question those vested with the power to force me to inject and ingest these chemicals. Well, I say we need more people asking the hard questions like me and many of you. You won't get my perspective of this bill from the primary author, Senator Jane Nelson, because you have to read it yourself. President Coolidge hit the nail on the head. It is much more important to kill bad bills than to pass good ones. You will read bills that make reference to other statutes or chapters but don't tell you what that statute says. And in that case, I look it up because oftentimes it's not so much what the bill says as what it doesn't spell out in the bill. So on page 1 of SB 63, it mentions, quote, community centers established under subchapter A, chapter 534. Well, I need to know what they define as community centers. Well, there's two ways you can find this statute, and I'll show you both. Remember the text tab on the bill lookup page? I've highlighted it with the red circle. Also remember that we downloaded the Microsoft Word document so that we could mark it up. Well, this time I'm going to download the PDF version because most often the PDF version of the bill will have blue colored text which indicates it contains a clickable embedded code that will take you somewhere else. And if you open up the PDF version of SB 63, your bill will appear like this in PDF format. Can you see the text chapter 534? The number 534 is in blue text. If I click on the blue 534, it will take me to the Health and Safety Code under Services for Persons with Mental Illness or an Intellectual Disability, chapter 534, subchapter A. From here, I can read the definitions of community centers. And for your information, this chapter is very long and a bit scary. Have you read about patients checking themselves into a center for psychiatric evaluation or care, and then they decide that they want to check out and they can't? Well, the details seem to be in this statute. But sometimes the PDF files don't have the embedded links, and in that case, here's how you find the statute. You go to the TLO homepage and click on Statutes in the middle column, which will bring you to this page. You select your code from the drop-down menu, and in this case we want the Health and Safety Code. Then select the chapter, and we want Chapter 534, Community Services. Then click Go. And here you have it, Health and Safety Code, Chapter 534, Community Centers. If you want your legislator to pay attention to you, read his bills and follow how he votes on bills, whether it's in his committee on which he serves or from the floor of his chamber, but whether it be the House or the Senate. By going to TLO and the How Do You page, which is question 11, how do I find out how a legislator voted on a bill? This will show you how to do that. And it's interesting how differently my legislators react to me when they know that I'm watching what they're doing. And I challenge you to follow their votes also and then ask them why they voted a certain way. This is the very least that you can do as a watchdog. I've listed number 11 on page 2 of your handout listed below, so please learn how to find how your House rep and your senator votes. About 6 years ago, I made some videos on how to set up your TLO account and how to access info on your state legislators. And by using large font on page 2 at the bottom of your handout, which is on this bottom of this YouTube, I hope that you'll find time to watch these videos and get your TLO account set up to make it work for you, even if it's just one bill. I made these for those of us that might be afraid of operating our computer for anything other than sending emails and reading articles. I also included an excellent training video at the bottom by Rachel Malone on how to testify in committees, and I highly recommend that you take an hour to watch this one, regardless of whether you plan to testify or not, because she gives a lot of great advice on the workings of the legislature that I did not cover. You don't have to travel to Austin to watch what they're doing. You can watch all committee meetings and floor actions in both the House and the Senate from the TLO website. Just click on House or Senate and follow the instructions offered. If I click on House, here's the House of Representatives video broadcast page. If there are no live broadcasts that day, then scroll down to the archive broadcasts for the committees and House chamber videos. Here's the Senate video page. Click on the right side of the page to access Senate video archives. You should be receiving TLO alerts on every bill your legislators have authored, co-authored, or sponsored. You should be reading all of their bills. You should be phoning them with questions, criticism, and support. And you should share your research, your concerns, and your criticism and support with voters in your district. You should find 2 other voters in your district to split up the bills to read and mark up. Basically, this is teamwork and motivation. And then share the results. Meet with both your legislators in your district or in Austin and discuss and seek updates on their bills. Share your info on social media to basically gain support of your position. Why? Because the people are responsible for the character of their legislature. How many bills have your legislators authored? Did you have a favorite bill from last session? Did it pass? Did you talk to him or her about any of their bills, expressing your support or concerns? Do you blindly trust someone else with your child's future? Why would you trust a politician with your posterity? In 2017, 1,223 bills were passed. Were any of them authored by your legislators? Which ones? How did they vote on these bills? How many bills are you even familiar with that passed? If we don't know what they're doing to us, how can we know if they need to be replaced or reelected? As of this day, January 20th, 2019, the 12th day of, well, actually it's about the 6th or 7th day of this session, the 86th Legislature has filed or introduced 1,287 bills already. My YouTube video on page 2 shows you how to find this TLO page. This is a picture of opening day of this legislative session, January 8th of 2019. Do you see the packed gallery of We the People up on the second level? The only business handled on the first day is the election of the Speaker. We the People have very little influence on this election, yet every seat in the gallery was filled. Pomp and circumstance took up 2 hours that day. Now look at the empty gallery on the second day of the session. Virtually empty. No pomp and circumstance. No interest from We the People. They happen to have amended and adopted the rules of the House of Representatives on the second day. And this was very important, yet no one showed up. To find the House rules, go to the home page. On the left column under Texas House, click on Home, and once on this page, click on Resources on the top toolbar. Once on the Resources page, open the House rules in either PDF or EPUB format. These are the rules from the last legislative session, but the amended rules for the 86th Legislature will be updated soon, or at least they should be. So I'm going to quickly review how to find how your legislator voted on a bill, but you should go to the TLO website, click on the How Do I links, which you'll see on page 1 of your handout, and follow their instructions. I'm going to use House Bill 61 from the 85th session. That was a bill having to do with assessment of certain students formerly receiving special education services. Why? Because this bill was also vetoed by Governor Abbott. It's a good example of the History tab on the bill lookup page. So if you see the last action, it says June 16, 2017, vetoed by the governor. This was the last action taken on this bill. But to find how your House rep and your senator voted, we'll scroll down the page under Actions. The last vote taken in the House was on May 25, 2017. It was a record vote, meaning that the yeas and nays are recorded in the House Journal. And if I click on the text that says Record Vote, it will take me to the House Journal for that day. But before I click on that text, I want to note that Record Vote, or RV, what number that is. This one is RV number 1837. So I'll click on Record Vote, and it will take me that day's House Journal, which is the formal minutes of the proceedings of the floor of the House, and I will look for the Record Vote number 1837. Once you've opened up the House Journal for May 25th, you may not land on the page that addresses the vote for the bill that you're interested in, and in that case, hit your Control button simultaneously with the F button, and a Find Text box will open up in the corner of your computer screen. Type in the number 1837, which is the record vote number. All the text with that number will become visible. As you can see, all the House reps except 2 voted yea on accepting the final bill with the amendments that the Senate adopted. Note that it says only 143 voted yea. Well, what about the other 7 House reps? Well, it says right here, 2 of them were present and didn't cast a vote. To find the other 5, let's scroll down. The 2 that were present not voting were the Speaker and Representative Lucio. Absent and excused were Reps Menares and Wally. Absent from the vote were Reps Bernal, Dukes, and Ortega. You follow the same procedure for a Senate floor vote. To find a vote on the Senate floor, you go to the record vote with an S to the left of the text and click on the text Record Vote. But before you do, take note that the journal page is listed as Journal Page 2674. The bill was read the 3rd time and was passed by the following vote: 31 yeas, 0 nays, and that's how they do it. So I ask you to please find a bill that one of your legislators, just one, that one of your legislators has authored, mark it up using the Microsoft Word comment feature, then phone your legislator and ask questions. James Garfield served as our nation's 20th president and the second of 4 presidents to be assassinated. He said it best: now, more than ever before, the people are responsible for the character of their Congress. If that body be ignorant, reckless, and corrupt, it is because the people tolerate ignorance, recklessness, and corruption. But if it be intelligent, brave, and pure, it is because the people demand these high qualities to represent them in the national legislature. Well, this applies to all levels of our government. I have reduced your ignorance and increased your knowledge with some tools to be effective as a citizen watchdog from your home. Will you use these tools or refuse to do so and be content with a reckless and corrupt state legislature that will repeat past history and pass some 1,200 to 1,400 bills in the next 5 months?